Hello everybody, it is Junior Nationals Day. Michael is waiting outside for me. I am late, of course, but Claude and I were cooking. If you're not on Claude, I literally just got it yesterday. Shout out to Reese for putting me on. Get on it. Okay, so what do we need? My bags are packed because meal prep, etc. No slacking, we're on the ball. We have a cold white... Oh shoot, which one's colder? Okay, we have a cold white tinny, a cold orange boyo, because we need something, some source of dopamine in this kind of cut. I'm going to text Michael, see if he has a cold white tinny, and then we'll see you on the road. You know something fun is about to happen, or it's going to be a good day when these sunglasses are on. Mike's just texted me and let me know that not only does he have a white monster for himself, he has a cold white monster for me as well. What a man. Yeah, you'll be grand there. Do you have one for me and you? Oh, this guy, he has a cold one for... He has a cold one for us both.
Listen, chap, before you say anything about my eye, you should see the other guy.
Is that your eye? Where? Oh, you got chin, did you?
No, I didn't get chin.
What's that? That's not a...
That's the best flavour of monster in the world.
Bro's breaking the rules.
No, this is facts.
By the way, this is his
payment.
This is his payment for fuel. Actually, I need to throw that in.
Payment for fuel.
Love you.
I said I'd give him money, but he wanted a 4-pack of white monster.
That's more important. Just throw it in wherever. Okay, I have no idea how far away is this.
About an hour and a half, I think.
Right. Let me see your eye again.
You should see the other guy.
Michael got beat up.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Oh, speaking of, we have a pretty fun Q&A, and one of the questions relates to that.
I know what it is. So, Pete, what do you think about the fuel crisis at the moment?
I think whatever comes out of my mouth next will just be redacted, so I'm not going to waste the time. However,
the way I see it, let me interrupt first.
Right.
You still have to pay it anyway.
This is
so
it.
What's the point complaining? You know?
This is going to make me sound so arrogant, but it is objectively true. The solution to these problems is to make more money, and making more money can be achieved by just working harder. Again, shout out Higher Up Wellness. It's... Wait, what does he say?
Oh no, he's choking!
It isn't easy, but it is simple. Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
What? Wait, I had 3/4 of a tank there. That's 45 quid to fill. A 1 litre Fiesta, folks. That's crazy.
Crazy world we live in. How am I supposed to do this? I think... No, wait. Put it... like... more... Right, 3, 2, 1. Oh! Yours went everywhere, man. Mine did go everywhere. Not everywhere, but... This is the better flavour, Pete. That's wrong. Trust me, guys. If you haven't tried the Monster Energy Zero... There is nothing better than the first sip of a white Monster. I don't care. You need to try it. Right, we're gonna hit the road here. Michael and I are gonna yap a wee bit, and then we're gonna do that Q&A because it'll be pretty funny. But we'll see you shortly. Bosh. Alright, so we'll have the Q&A here that Pete put up on his Instagram. So I have some very spicy questions here about training and nutrition. So I'd maybe go from Sarah's question. Yeah. Okay, starting off strong here. Who would win in a fight? Who has a black eye? Yeah, but that means yeah. Failure is not missing the target. Failure is having no arrows on the target. Is that what you're trying to say? Something like that, yeah.
All I'm gonna say.
I would win.
All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna clip this in. Me and that punching bag. Not that video you saw. There was
That
another one.
punching bag was terrible.
There was
bro.
another one. 909. I got 906. I got.
Yeah, it's one of those machines where you hit it with a feather and you get 800. If I got you on the ground, you're fucked.
Mate, your jiu-jitsu skills would have.
My jiu-jitsu skills
Jiu-jitsu
aren't great,
skills- your
but if I got
jiu-jitsu
you on the ground, if someone who's been trained,
Your jiu-jitsu your jiu-jitsu
He's joking.
skills. Your jiu-jitsu skills would be no match for me on a leg press, bro. Alright.
oh, for real, like. Although I think my quads are still bigger, like.
Oh, cap, mate.
Okay. I think this one is a good one for you. What percentage of lifters do you think could handle 7 times plus SPT days a week? Why not worth it?
Okay, when we look at volume, and let's give a very arbitrary answer with what a set is. If a set is below, realistically, an RP5, we're not going to count it as a set. What percentage of lifters could handle an actual working set? I think that's a seven sets?
Yeah.
Or seven X frequency?
7 times plus SPD days a week.
Unless I'm proven otherwise, I do not think there is a single human that can actually handle doing above RP5 sets 7 days a week. Now, we've seen instances with someone like Sean Noriega who would bench 6 times a week. However, the systemic fatigue from bench is obviously a lot less than the other two. But if we were to look at that program, I guarantee if we actually looked at it, at least 2 of those days would be RP5 or below. So when we look at actual working sets, RP6 and above, I don't think there's anyone who could handle that for longer than maybe 3 weeks at absolute most without some issues at either nervous system or tissue level.
Absolutely. I think to add to that point, I think he's maybe referring to I think the likes of Austin Perkins does quite a lot of SBD days per week. What do you call Joseph Bornstein does quite a lot of SBD days a week. I think when you're looking at those, you're looking at like massive outliers as well of the system.
They are for a reason.
Yeah, they're the top 0.1% of athletes with incredibly good genetics. Their recoverability session to session is probably very good, and the actual program itself is extremely well thought out. As Pete said, it's like if you're doing 7 SBD days a week, how many of those actual sets are going to be over like RP4, RP5? And you probably look at it, it's probably very minimal.
Definitely agree.
Okay, next question. Most counterproductive training methods you've seen?
I'm gonna say, because I spoke to someone in the gym who was running this, you know the German volume?
Yeah,
it's
10 sets of 10 or something like that. 10 sets of 10.
Let's keep it short and sweet. Why?
Yeah, what's the point?
I mean, if someone's new to training, yes, we want more sets and we want more reps because they spend more time going through the positions and learn how to do the damn thing. But when we look at it from, unless you're unemployed and extremely bored, nobody has time to train that way. And also the chances of you cooking yourself in terms of pain, injury.
100%.
I'm going to have to give a very simple answer. Just anything that's extremely high volume, I think.
I was just about to say, sorry to interrupt you, when I just look at some
people in the gym that maybe don't have a coach or maybe don't have a lot of experience. They're doing 4, they're doing 5, sometimes 6 sets of a lat pull down and a chest press, and it's just the same thing as what you said. It's why, those sets, there's so much redundancy in those last few sets if you're actually training to the intensity you should be training to. Especially in those earlier sets. So
you're literally taking a glass of water, a jug, and pouring the jug out completely just so it's empty to make yourself feel like you've done something productive. Mm-hmm. If the glass only needs 200 milliliters to be full, it only needs 200 milliliters. Move on.
Good analogy. Next question. Creatine on a cut? Absolutely. It makes no difference if you're in a surplus or a deficit to use creatine, and if anything, like as we know in the research, most research supplement there is out there, positive influence on lean muscle mass over the long term. So creatine always, every single day, no matter if you're cutting, maintaining, or in a gaining phase.
Yeah. And when we look at processes, fat loss, so fat actually leaving the cell, what does that have to do with creatine? Is that our goal in a fat loss phase? No. So we shouldn't separate the two.
Absolutely.
That's the angle I would approach that with. So we all need to look at it from the cognitive standpoint. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're in a very aggressive deficit, it does have an impact on how you feel and how you think. So any little 1% benefit we may get, as little as it may be, is going to be useful, and we know from research that those portions of creatine, just 10, maybe 15 grams, will have at least make a small difference.
Absolutely.
So look at it from that standpoint.
Absolutely. Separate additional point to that as well is there's a lot of research with creatine on sleep deprivation. So when you consume higher levels of creatine, closer to that sort of like loading phase range, so like 20-25 grams per day, we see a massive cognitive increase when people are sleep deprived. So I think it's under 6 hours sleep or maybe under 5. We see massive cognitive benefits to that massive dose of creatine to actually still performing in the day when you're sleep deprived. Now it starts to drop off if you continue to be sleep deprived, but let's just say you have 4 hours sleep, you really need to be cognitively aware. Yep, likely for him. You really need to be cognitively there to do your work. A higher dose of creatine may be very beneficial on that day.
And what would your thoughts then be about, let's say, a loading phase where for a short period of time we do take very high dosages?
There's no real need for it unless you're competing in a competition in 4 weeks' time and you don't have a specific weight class to meet, or you still have lots of room to meet that weight class. There's no real need to force, that one week time of getting the creatine in your system faster. So just use your general dosing strategy, which new strategy typically people say 5 grams per day. That works, but as the human gets bigger you tend to need more, which we are starting to see a lot more in the creatine research. So the new sort of general protocol day to day is 0.1 grams per kg of body weight. So 70 kilo meal, 7 grams per day, so on and so forth. So just use your daily protocol, unless what I meant to say was 1 or 2 weeks time you need to be fully saturated with creatine. There's no need to load it. other than that. Next question. both the client, me and Pete both coach. So this is a call out. Torque off, oiled up, pull over the car. What's your answer to that, Pete?
That sounds like something a very handsome man called Rhys Evans would say.
Yeah, I think that too, you know. Okay, next question. Mike, do you want me to get my veg in? So this guy, I've been telling,
Oh, is this world's biggest boobs?
this is world's biggest boobs, yep. Boobert Wilson, I'm telling this guy to get his veg in at least 1 meal per day for the past probably 4 weeks. Has he listened to me? Nope. So what's his punishment?
He has to eat 1 kilogram of frozen baby carrots.
I was just about to say, he has to eat 1 kilogram of onions. Really good for the gut. Okay, so next question. How do you balance having a stable nutrition plan without getting bored of the same meals? It's a great question. And typically how I coach my nutrition clients is to have a bit of variety in their sort of day-to-day eating, or in their week-to-week eating, however you want to phrase it. So with this one, I think having some, so it might be 1 or 2 meals a day out of your 3 or 4 meals a day that you keep consistent. So I personally, my breakfast and final meal of the day, always the exact same meal. So I have that consistency there, I have that predictability, so it's easier to then fill in the gaps at lunch and dinner time, compared to if I had to free ball all 4 of my meals a day. It's going to take me more time, it's going to take me more thought, and more time going into your food probably causes less consistency over time when it comes to actually sticking to a deficit, making the right food choices. So you need to take a little bit of thought out of your day-to-day eating and at least have something consistent.
Possibly.
But if you're someone who doesn't like eating the exact same thing, the exact same 3 or 4 meals a day, swap out 2 of them, have 5 different options to choose from across a weekly basis. So you have 5 different options for lunch, 5 different options for dinner. You know what they are, you know what the ingredients you need, and make them similar ingredients to the next one, but just slightly different. Gives you a bit of variety, gives you a bit of a change. And that way you might be able to stick to sort of your deficit, your diet, whatever you're trying to do, a lot more comfortably.
My take on this, I genuinely believe people aren't good enough at cooking. And it's very easy to be good at cooking.
Absolutely.
You know that analogy of the Fantastic Four I use in terms of a plate?
Yes.
Fat, fiber, carbs, protein source.
Yeah.
If you have loads of different colours and good quality food on your plate, actual good seasoning you enjoy, maybe sauce as well, 0 calorie sauce potentially if your gut can handle it, if you're on a cut, there's so much going on in that plate and it's so enjoyable that you will not get bored of it. I also believe that if you have a lot of expenditure in your day, if you're a very busy person, eating the same thing every day, you will never get bored of. In my opinion, this isn't medical advice at all, but I feel as if getting bored of food is a symptom of you being like globally bored.
Interesting.
Because you require novelty in your food and something different. Whereas I think you should have so much going on in your day, you should be so busy and have so much expenditure that you want that food not from like I'm starving standpoint, but I want the nutrients there, and I feel that may be a sign that the meals you are eating just might not be satiating or satisfying from that standpoint. It's an interesting angle to look at. I'm not saying
100%.
this is the case, but
Yeah.
it's
Good
what
advice.
I would always ask, not, do we need this novelty, or I would look at it from the standpoint of, why do you want this novelty all the time? Just my take.
Yeah, good point to have. I think an interesting point to make as well is, if you are having variety in your meals, you need to be having variety that's actually good, actually nutritionally dense food. So if you have a consistent dinner and you say one day, I want to have something different, I want to swap it, that's okay. But it still has to be a nutritionally dense, whole foods type of meal.
Yeah.
So, like you said, that sort of plate you run by is a really good way to think about it. So you have, no matter what you're changing up, you have a blueprint to follow. So it's not a guessing game, So there was something else I was going to say and I entirely forgot. But
I really need a piss.
I actually don't yet, surprisingly.
You drank that whole thing. Yeah,
Mostly.
pissing.
Good question here. A bit more of a personal one, so I'll let you answer first.
Personal stuff, leave to me, of course.
What's been your biggest win the past few years? It's a hard one. So there's a lot of good wins and
Starting to see success seeing success because of not being afraid to be me. Utilizing my creativity, my faith, and just immersing myself in things I genuinely enjoy, and being relentlessly obsessed and committed to working hard to be able to live a life that's fun and helpful to other people. The reason I answered that so briefly is because if we listed all, even how far, even yourself and I, how far we've come in the last year, even since the start of the year, we would be here all day. But from a zoomed out perspective, I would just say being able to be me and be happier in who I am and just enjoy being me, really. By yourself.
love that. I think it's somewhat similar to yourself. It's been so powerful for me, even this year, to see that the work that I do, the people that I help, can actually be something that I love doing and be something that is my career and that I know that I sort of want to be doing the rest of my life. I think, as with a lot of teenagers and even early adults growing up, you have no idea what you want to do in life, and that was a really scary thing for me personally, because there was always a lot of pressure there from my parents, and even from an early age. It's quite a full circle moment for me that I've come to appreciate a lot recently. Is I said to both my parents, I think when I was 14 or 15, that I would work for myself one day, and as of very recently I'm fully self-employed.
What? Ginny Smart?
Yes, I told you this already.
You didn't? Congrats, sir. That's a peak life moment. That is a peak life moment. If you're thinking of starting a business, do what he did, don't do what I did. Worked out anyway, but
Worked out anyway, exactly. So, yeah, I've been working my part-time job for 4.5 years. I continued working there even up until now. My last shift's literally next week. So it's a full circle moment, all the way back from when I was 15, and I told my parents I would work for myself one day. A couple of years later from that statement, I said I want to be, when I started seeing the likes of Daniel Dargan blowing up, I said I wanted to do what he's doing. I wanted to be a coach, make a full-time living off of it, help people for a living, and they said that wasn't possible. And not that it was to go and prove my parents wrong, but it was just to go and prove to myself that I could do what I said I would do and set myself out to do. So it's been a very full circle moment for me this year, just knowing that stuck to my word all the way back from when I was an early teenager. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Last one of the first page. What's more important for gains by percentage and why? Nutrition or stimulus?
Oh, let me answer this.
I know what your answer's going to be.
Okay. If our goal is muscle growth, training, full stop. If our goal is fat loss, nutrition, full stop. It is
Absolutely.
black and white.
Yeah.
Also, Rick, you can have the worst program in the world. However, if you are insanely accurate at lifting, you will grow muscle, because
Absolutely.
technique is more important than program. Okay? Nutrition. You can have the worst diet in the world. If you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. Now, will you feel terrible and maybe not actually look that good? Probably. But when we look at principles, that's my answer.
Absolutely agree. I thought your answer at the start was going to be food isn't a stimulus, which I think many people don't realise. So you think pinning back more, a lot of people think, you know, when you get into a gain in face, pinning back more food equals more gains. We know that's not the answer. And I think going back to Pete's point, that like obviously they're two separate processes, they can happen simultaneously.
Yeah.
But I've seen it with some of my own clients that I don't do nutrition for. I have their trainer really dialed in, they're putting on muscle, they're getting so much stronger. They really don't have good diets, I'll not name names, but they're still making really good progress. Not to say that's what you should go and do. You will make way better progress if you eat better, if you fuel yourself before training, if you have a lot better accuracy with your nutrition. Your training will also follow along suit. But I agree with Pete's point. If the goal is muscle growth training, if the goal is fat loss, food, nutrition.
Okay, we will stop there, because this video is how long already?
24 minutes.
24 minutes, which will already take probably close to half an hour to upload onto my phone.
Yep.
I need to piss that badly that I can't concentrate. I'm still going below the speed limit, have you know, health and safety and that. We will circle back when we are out of Applebury.
Peace. So we're just debating here. Not really debating, just talking. No, we're not debating. We're just talking about sort of the positives, negatives of doing sort of longer periods of fasting. And we're talking about a 72-hour sort of like fast, which is sort of considered your longer term fast. I wouldn't really recommend most people trying anything over that if you were to try doing a longer period of fasting. But essentially it doesn't really have any like massive long-term benefits. The short-term benefit is that it will sort of spike autophagy, which is essentially when your body uses up its old cells and creates new cells. So it creates like new fresh cells, gets rid of older, more used cells. So it's quite beneficial when it comes to de-aging, like the aging process. That's like the main reason you would do a fast. People say like the likes of like clearing your, you know, it's like a fast for your gut. You're getting rid of all the shite, but you're just putting food back into it anyway straight after, so it doesn't really do anything at all, even on the short-term basis for that. So you're really only looking at fasting for the benefits of autophagy and just basically a short-term de-aging process for your cells. So be careful if you're gonna try any sort of long-term fasts. Be ready for it. Do your research, because it definitely does suck, and it's definitely not an easy thing to do. Not talking from experience, I don't think I'll ever do one, to be honest. Maybe a shorter term one, 24 or 48 hours. But yeah. Any thoughts, Pete?
I think a lot of people see things on the internet and think, oh, let's try that, without understanding the benefits
What you're actually
or the
getting.
processes at hand. X influencer or X person did this, so I want to try it. Now, if that's in the context of putting chocolate sauce on your pasta, go ahead. But something like a 72-hour fast, you need to consider how that's going to affect you physically and mentally. Don't just try things, especially things that are very difficult and can potentially make physiological changes, because the idea of doing it is cooler.
Yeah, 100%.
Should we get back to Q&A?
Yeah, I'm literally on it here now.
This is going to be the longest last YouTube video ever, but I love it.
Okay, so back to it, straight in. Not really a question. Tell Ryan Irvine that vegetables aren't your enemy.
This is interesting though. I've tried for a long time, take Ryan to eat his veggies. So the main thing we are lacking, not to single out Ryan, but it's common with picky eaters, because I have clients and have had clients in the past who struggle with this same problem. If we try something a couple of times and it's not working, we're not getting the change we want. In this context, more fiber, more nutritionally dense sources. Let's find our entry point into getting fiber. For Ryan, what I've done is I'm suggesting a lot of our meals are focused around brown bread and cereal as well, because we need the fiber to come from somewhere. He doesn't mind some fruits, and I don't know what the research is, or you may know better than me, if getting the fiber from fruit or veg is better. But what's better, getting your fiber in the most optimal fashion, or just getting your fiber in? And it's the same as cardio. We can have all these arguments about what style of cardio is best because of low impact, fatigue, whatever. But if we can just get a form of cardio in that we actually enjoy and that we just do and actually tick off, that is the argument I would make. So
Absolutely
if you
agree.
can't get any fiber in, you're just, no matter how I tell you to season and spice and cook your green beans and your carrots, you're not going to do it. Rather you have 100 grams of berries in your shake, or brown bread instead of white bread.
Absolutely.
This is the difference between looking smart on social media and saying you should do this, versus coaching a real human being and saying let's try this and take it from them.
Absolutely agree. I think I've had a similar situation with Mr. Bobbert Wilson we talked about earlier. It's just, he does get most of his fibre from other sources other than fruits and vegetables. Seems to have a bit of an intolerance to fruit, actually.
Okay, we'll
Pause video.
No, pause it.
Okay.
That's how you eat the bits.
Yo,
No, but it's not correct.
you're on YouTube.
Holy
You're going on
It's
YouTube.
alright, clip there, kill the server. What is the ETA, mate?
What time's it?
We are arriving in 25 minutes, roughly.
Time mocked. That's alright. No worries. We'll
Hold on. Do you know what? Do you know why we're getting time mugged? Yo.
Peter, I have a fight today.
Huh?
Can I have a fight today?
No.
That's terrible. He's not allowing his clients to have enjoyable things.
Enjoyable things. He's been over his calories every day for the last 2 weeks.
What a guy.
You're like, what the fuck, man? I think you're fucking Larry. I have the man. Did you cheat? Right, that's right. We'll see you boys in half an hour or so.
We will see you there.
Right, we'll see you there.
Beautiful man. Okay, continue. We'll go on to the next question. I'll not go into detail. If you could only do 3 exercises aside from the big 3 for the rest of your life, what are they?
Let's try give a shorter answer because I have a YouTube video coming where I covered this question but with 5 exercises and there's more detail. So if you want to check that out, check it out. 3 exercises?
3.
Front foot elevated split squat, single arm dumbbell row, and a high incline dumbbell press.
That's what I was going to say.
I've only 3 outside of big 3 coaches. You can't say the same thing.
I was going to say high incline dumbbell press, 'cause that's one I do myself. I think that's a brilliant one to cover a lot of different areas.
Think of
This
what
is
you
hard,
would
like,
think of
this is a
how
hard
you would feel and what restrictions would come into play if you didn't cover certain movement patterns
Yeah.
or train certain muscles.
Yeah. I think you sort of have to go with a single leg movement. So I'll be different to you and just say a contralateral Bulgarian split squat. And then horizontal pull. Not horizontal pull. Yeah, I think my answer just definitely isn't the smartest Pete, but I'm gonna say an upper back low row.
We will take a quick break to pay for the toll.
If you could train a session with one person, past or present, who would it be and why?
As in, well,
I'm gonna assume it just means train
I'm looking
with in the gym.
I'm looking this from the standpoint of being able to spend the time with the person. I'm gonna say no other than Dr. Jordan Shallow because the brain waves and the value I would get from that would probably change my life. But yeah.
I think purely from a nutritional knowledge point of view, he's really big into training as well, is I forgot his name. Dr. Lane Norton, PhD in nutritional sciences, world champion powerlifter. I think that'll be one I'd very much like to speak to.
Not a bad CV.
Just pick his brain about nutritional science, really. Next one. If the Spurs players went to you and Mike, would they be getting relegated?
Do you understand what that means?
I don't know.
So Spurs are literally in the relegation zone.
Oh,
Even though they're like a
okay.
traditional
Yes.
big team.
Yeah. I don't watch football anymore, people.
S&C isn't my thing, but I could definitely try. I think with the season they're having, it would be hard. Definitely from Mike's performance side of things. Yes.
I think I could help out. 100% help out. Okay. Strategy to overcome AC partial tear at the shoulder. This is more your.
I am not qualified to give
medical
/ rehab advice, but sunglasses are coming off. Just need to think. Say AC. Okay, A and C. So we have two. Let's take a big picture. We have two things. We have the acromion and the clavicle, and when we look at the shoulder as a whole, we also need to consider the SC joint, scapular thoracic joint. The scapula, the acromion is a part of the scapula, essentially. If we can't move the scap, we can't really move the clavicle. So let's look at an entry point in being able to restore some range there. When we look at these two joints and what's between them, obviously we have, well, the rib cage, so maybe if we can get the ribs to move as well. This could be in some form of cable crunch, in some form of rotation through, again, say a single arm dumbbell row, maybe doing some direct core work or maybe some rotational work, and maybe challenging rotation directly, maybe eccentrically loading overhead via, say, like a lat pullover. That'll get the ribs moving as well. Having good capacity from a cardio standpoint will be able to open up those ribs more and get them to interact with the environment, because that's a process that happens when you breathe as a human being. So when we break apart these things and look at the AC, that's the joint, as I said, it's not just the joint itself, it's the acromion and the clavicle, and obviously the clavicle and the acromion, we have that relationship there with the SC joint, so the scapula and then the ribs, so everything needs to move. I would break down, oh dear, just slow down, 60 kilometers an hour. I've got my Jesus photo covering. Okay, right. Yeah, just find an entry point. Basically getting it overhead, getting rotating, getting some thoracic flexion, extension, just so we can restore some movement quality if we are missing. And to keep it simple, try things that don't hurt and do them and get stronger. So if we start in, especially in the context of an AC joint injury, if we can start in lower levels of shoulder abduction and shoulder flexion, and then gradually increase those angles as we gain exposure into more, what could be potentially provocative positions that will restore some range, strength and stability. But definitely go to a physio or someone that is more qualified to give you rehab advice, I guess.
What he said.
Very nerdy answer, but things work a certain way, people.
Yeah. What's one thing that most people get wrong in training and or nutrition?
Not hiring us.
Fact. I mean, there's
okay, let's answer this very simply. Caring more about programming than technique is a very common one. Now,
100%, yeah, that's good.
nutrition. What's a nutritional one-liner?
Thinking the only thing that matters are calories and macros.
Big one, definitely agree.
So many people that come to me think that one. So How to properly utilize maintenance breaks when dieting.
I'm gonna quickly, before you give your expertise.
Yeah.
Do you actually need one?
Mm.
Have you been in a diet long enough, and have you been intense of a diet enough to need one? Or are you just saying you need a break because things have got kind of challenging? If you're hungry, if you want to get in insane shape, you need to be okay with being hungry.
Fully agree.
Full stop.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's a really good point, and I think it only really comes to fruition, and there's only a lot of sense and point in it if you are approaching really, really low levels of body fat, or pushing to a point you've never really pushed to before. So the likes of, obviously, bodybuilders will have structured refeeds or diet breaks, maintenance phases, whatever you want to call them. That might be for a 1 to 2 week period. It might be a couple of refeed days here and there throughout the course of your deficit. But for the average person just looking to lose a little bit of body fat, or even if they're looking to lose a significant amount of body fat, if they have a significant amount of body fat, you really don't really need these in the long term.
Most of you are too fat to ask this question.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, 100%. I think the person in question isn't very fat, to be fair, but
I don't know who asked it, by the way.
so the way I would structure these is first looking at how lean the person is, how lean they want to go, mapping out how long the deficit's actually going to be. Do we even have room in that time frame to structure any refeeds, any diet breaks? But the only time I would really look at it is when we've exhausted all options. If training performance is in the bin, energy is absolutely zapped all the time, and we've looked at all the other fixes first that come before a refeed, like looking at your diet quality, looking at how you're sleeping, looking at your training intensity, etc, etc, etc. So many things to look at first before just structuring a refeed. But if we've exhausted all options and it's clear you simply don't have enough fuel, we'll look at a bit of a refeed, whether that be a few days. But typically, if someone's really struggling and they need just a bit of a mental break, they need to reset, structuring like a 1 to 2 week maintenance calorie phase can be very beneficial for some people looking at the sustainability model of a long-term deficit. If they're struggling a little bit, maybe just looking at one refeed day, going to those sort of like super compensation levels of carb loading, so you're talking like 8 to 12 grams per kg of body weight per day, looking at that, either spreading that over 2 days or just doing a 1 day sort of refeed at that higher levels of carbs. That should be more than enough.
Good answer. Next question.
Last one. Oh, two more, sorry. No, yeah, last one. How to properly look after your gut health. Many people misunderstand fiber, in my opinion.
Do not ignore the fact that you are farting constantly, your bowels aren't solid, and your stomach feels like it's been hit by an RPG, and you are about as watery as a puffer fish when it gets scared.
Facts.
And you feel terrible.
So, yeah, don't ignore your symptoms. Just because you might be able to maintain some level of good like training performance, but if you're constantly on the toilet, if it's not solid, if your energy feels zapped, you feel sluggish, your stomach's always sore, you're always bloated, your gas smells horrible, those are clear symptoms there. There's something going wrong at that gut level of your digestion. So more fiber isn't always the answer. For a lot of people it is, especially if your diet quality is already quite bad. A lot of the time adding more fiber is generally going to see a big improvement in those symptoms. But for people already smashing those things, you're looking at the likes of FODMAPs, so those are short chains of carbohydrates that cause a lot of gas. So everyone has different triggers, everyone has different foods that trigger your gas, your bloating a lot worse than others. So you can look on the scale of FODMAPs, there's high FODMAPs, medium, low. You can look on that scale, just search it up on the internet. Gradually look at the foods, the higher FODMAP foods you are eating, take one out at a time, see if your symptoms improve. Then you can start ruling out the culprits, see what may be the issue there that's causing that, and then you can slowly add them back in, build a bit more of a tolerance to them again. There's other things to look at as well when it comes to the gut. The gut is so complex. There's millions and millions of gut bacteria that we still don't even know about yet in the research. But essentially you're trying to feed the healthy gut bacteria that we have, such as your butyrate, which is a short sort of chain fatty acid found in the gut. And that's basically fed through eating more soluble sources of fibre. So oats, apples, most fibre containing foods are pretty equal split of both insoluble and soluble fibre. So just generally picking more fibrous foods, higher fibre carbohydrate foods will also help out a lot there too. So many things to look at. It is complex. This is why you get someone to help you with it, not trying to figure it out yourself.
The answer, more fibre is not always the answer, and we cannot just keep throwing fibre at a gut that is already struggling. The analogy that I would use is, imagine there's a battle and we have 50 bad guys against 30 good guys, and they're a mess, they're losing, they're disorganized, and we need reinforcements. Fibre. Let's throw an extra 20 men into the mix. If there is already chaos on the battlefield, it's disorganized, the morale's low, there's panic everywhere, will adding more men fix the problem, or just lead to more confusion, more disorganization? And if we can't stay organized, disciplined, and function well with 30 men, what's going to happen with 50 men? That's the analogy I'd use.
Really good way to think about it. Really good way to think about it. So yeah, more fibre is not always the answer. Is the answer really? So you need to look at sort of all aspects.
Say it one more time so we can make a hook for it on a reel. Sorry guys.
I'm trying to remember exactly what I said now.
I think you said
more fibre.
The answer is that more fibre is not the answer.
The answer is more fibre is not always the answer. So yeah, I think that is all.
Okay guys, this YouTube video will be like an hour long, but if you're fans of us,
you may watch it.
You may watch it.
Podcast type.
I will take this. If you've made it this far, you probably like our stuff, you probably like my stuff. Make sure you're following Michael on Instagram.
Michael_Colleen.
There is a link to the White Monster Wire below if you want to learn more about what we talked about. You can also apply to work with me on a one-to-one basis in the description below. If you want to work with Michael, how do they go about that?
So just go on my Instagram, DM me. There is also a link in my website, sort of shows some of my services. But just DM me to book a call with me, run over the service that I provide. We go from there.
Okay, we'll see you when we get to the spot.
L Rugby. He got hit by a tractor. Man of the moment, Teapot. How we're feeling?
All good, mate. All good. Chill sexy.
Okay,
The light just came off.
he's gone for the humble and quiet. Mike, what's your predictions? Gold medal for the man, Mike.
Has to be 700.
800, lad. No, we're here. Teapot. This is your second nationals?
Yes, hello. Nationals actually.
Yes, your second. You ready? I'm excited. This is actually the biggest comp I've had. I'm saying the teapot there that I feel really chill. Chill, to be fair. Yeah, he's a little nervous, so we'll get him off camera. He's joking. Kurwa. Oh. Kurwa. That's how they really do it in Poland. Banished. Can I see your breasts? Oh, I don't think the light picked that up. Okay, that'll have to suffice.
Do you know what? Yo, Peter, rub chalk on my bum, please.
Let the people see.
Do you ever put that in that patch of carpet? I'm coming for you, that.
What do you want to say to the people?
He gets nervous around the camera, you see.
No, hold on. I'm trying to think of something inspirational. Run it back. Rub chalk on my bum on a real one. Like a little spot.
Yeah.
I'll smack your bum with chalk.
Squats and bench done.
Let me make a prediction.
Wait, okay, so let's give them context. Squats matched, bench 2.5 PB, 145 just wasn't there on the day. So my thoughts so far: something's went right for squats in the taper, something's went wrong in the bench for taper deads. We will see.
282nd and 290 is loaded. We will see how that goes from there.
I agree. So 290 would be 7.5 kilo.
What would it be total? So 260, 142. What's that?
That would bring us a 10 kilo compy base. So we'd be probably 692 total.
And that, so 290 would be 700.
No.
Yeah.
I can't do maths.
Hold on. Right, flip the camera. Right, so if I go 260, oh no shit, I'm I'll pull that. 297's loaded.
Do I have to beep that out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I will beep that out. Sorry.
You could put a voice thing going over. Silly thing.
Redacted. We'll see you on the other side.
Just wait till I put them off.
Well, wait. Post-comp thoughts.
Not ideal. You know, rugby and partisan don't mix well. But you know what? It was a good lesson. It was a good experience. And we had a good fun day. We will come back here next year. We'll put up a serious number on the board.
Hell yeah.
We'll build for a year. And I'll not forget this. I'm disappointed, but I'll use that to fuel me. So I'll try it.
Go for it.
What a man.
Nearly there. B-Dog thoughts?
I think it went really well, to be honest. Listen, put it this way, not many men get the nads, especially Irish nads, and that's something I would love to do, maybe someday.
One day or day one? Day one. We're going to see B-Dog at Nationals. Hopefully, anyway.
I think it was great.
I think we all know what Thomas can do. This is his first year juniors. We'll be back next year.
Yeah, Thomas Patton is the GOAT. And I love him so much. He is my slime.
No, I'll say my piece. Not an ideal prep, but I think given the prep that we had, this is still a very good.
Do you know what? My Friday today was probably my third because it just felt so nice after squat being terrible.
Definitely, yeah, I agree. Kilos could have pushed more on squats.
But do you know what? In terms of sorry to interrupt you, Peter. In terms of I think mentality, it feels like I've worked for. It feels like I've worked for. Well, how long have I been doing? You know, it feels like I've been prepping 4 months to achieve nothing. But in terms of my mindset and like the work ethic, and it's definitely built up. Trying to balance everything at once, and progress isn't linear. So
I agree. We've learned a lot. We know what amendments to make for prep and taper. Next time we shall review and implement the changes we need to make. That's why data is so important. But I'm very proud given the prep we had. I think that was fantastic. Conducted himself very well. And shout out to Michael for amazing nutrition prep as always, and a performance plan for the day, which T-Pat followed.
and helped us mitigate a few issues we had with sodium levels in the peak, etc. But yeah, very proud. We learned our lessons, and as a 18-year-old lifter, very good showing. You're 19 now?
Remember that time we went out for our birthday? He's so
Oh yeah, I am the worst person. But as someone who's just come out of sub juniors to hold his own like that in against some very well developed lifters, I'll say as well. Amazing. And next time we're here, we will put at least a massive dent into the opposition. We'll be on that podium, if not with a gold medal around our necks. Boom.
On the way back home. By the way, if anybody's wondering what happened to my eye, the answer is you should see the other guy. I already said that earlier, didn't I? I did say that earlier.
It was actually, the other guy was Reece Evans.
Yeah,
Michael beat him up.
You should see him, like, it's crazy.
That was a paid endorsement.
The real answer is I don't actually know what happened. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Tuesday, yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, really good at it.
Sure, that's
white belt, 0 stripes.
Doesn't look as good as I thought.
Doesn't really.
Sorry, continue.
So Tuesday night, just rolling with a few boys, you know, and then coach said to me at the end, "You've got a big shiner on your eye." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Looked at my phone. I had a big. It was actually quite a small little like black eye as it started on Tuesday, but I didn't feel anything at all. And then next morning woke up and it was a massive shiner like this. It's actually sort of got worse as the days have went on. But yeah, here we are. No cool story, unfortunately, for my first ever black eye. How many black eyes have you had, Pete?
One, and it was given to me by my 14-year-old cousin, and that's when I realised that I need to start a combat sport. Although I haven't done it yet, and I always talk about, you know, just getting things done. So if I decide not to play rugby next season, which is looking likely just from a time constraint standpoint and travelling on Saturdays, etc., that will be the move, and you guys can all hold me to it.
I'll have to hold them to it. It's like an MMA, some type of stand-up.
Yeah, MMA, just because from what I know, it's quite, well, it's in the name, that's mixed, it's broad.
Get a bit of everything.
And then if I want to